Guys doing? I hope all is well. Welcome to the Messy Sweet Spot. Today I bring to you guys Brian McKnight. Okay, so Brian McKnight, he has said some a comment that I thought was pretty wild, and I wanted to bring it to you guys to talk about. I also have a link up here if you guys want to come in and join the conversation. You're more than welcome. But Brian McKnight, he pretty much said that he believes that his ex-wife, the black lady, and his other son pretty much killed his other son that died from colon cancer. He says that it could have been preventable, but they purposely allowed the other son not to get treatment because they wanted him to die, just so they can continue the drama with Brian McKnight in public. He feel like they they sacrifice the other man so they can continue the beef. And I just thought that was so wild. And he said this in public and he said this on video. And I'm like, man, what happened to the days of y'all just being quiet? But, social media and everybody and their mama is gossiping. When I was growing up, gossiping was a feminine thing. It was like only women gossip. That's a feminine trait. But nowadays, everybody has the trait, right? So here we are, and I will tell you how I feel about it. Hey, Lisa, how you doing, Lisa Wilson? I'm so glad that you're here. I'll tell you guys how I feel about it before I get into it or before I play it. I feel it's really good to detach from blood relatives, even if it's your parents. If they're not serving you, if they're not loving you right, and you may say, well, what is love? Because every time somebody tells me, love, I'm always asking, what do you mean by love? I feel love is when you are protecting me and you're respecting me. If you're not doing that and you just have an emotional attachment to me, I don't care for that. Like, I'm so detached to emotional attachment. Yes, I was raised to have this emotional attachment, but I just feel like a lot of it is really bogus and it's a lie. Why do I feel like it's bogus and it's a lie? Because I've seen so many marriages, I've seen so many relationships, I've seen so many people, family or friends, they have an emotional attachment, to this person, but they do the people wrong. They disrespect the people. They gossip behind their back. Some husbands and boyfriends, they even kill the people that they love. So I was like, nah, that emotional attachment shit, it's cool, but I don't want too much of it. I prefer to have respect and protection. I would prefer to have that without the emotional attachments. I mean, that doesn't move me. And I think a lot of people, it does move them because we are emotional creatures. However, I have real good self-control over my emotions, I think. And I I'm going to control um if I feel like it's just getting too out of hand. I remember times where I felt that my parents were very emotional over me. And a lot of times when people have this emotional attachment on you, they want to control you and they want to dictate your life. And that's just not going to work with me. I don't care how much you say you love me, but when I feel like you're trying to control and dictate who I am and it's not who I am, then I have an issue and I'd rather cut your love and I'd rather you just not love me. I really, I love that. And I don't feel attached to people where it's like I need blood relatives to live because that is a false narrative. I don't. Like, you can live in this world and happy with people you choose to have in it. You don't need these blood relatives. After all, this body is nothing but a vessel. This earth realm is just temporary. It's not even your home. You're only here for a little bit. So I don't get caught up in a lot of earthly things. And that's contributing to my body. That's contributing to, relatives because, you know, It's only a matter of time. We on borrowed time. So I say all that to say, um, you know, Brian McKnight kids, they were emotional attached. It seemed like they constantly had the need to be close to Brian McKnight, and they wanted him to show up, and he just don't want to show up. He never did show up, and I think a lot of people have that. And for me, I know I'm blessed because I don't have that emotional attachment. Um, I stopped that when I was 11 years old. I just had in my mindset at 11. I said, I'm just thankful that my parents, they procreated, they loved each other, and they had me. I'm just thankful to be here. Even I didn't ask to be here. I would still weaponize that. I didn't actually be here, but I'm thankful that they did procreate and I'm here. But I just felt like, well, shit, you are obligated to feed me. But then I said, well, shit, are they obligated to feed me? I mean, can they send me to adoption home? Can they put me up for adoption? They can, So, you know, I was just, I don't know. At 11, I just humbled myself and I did not expect much from my parents. Now, I would say my personal relationship with my parents is awesome. They respect me. And with my parents, I never wanted or needed much as far as materialistic things. I didn't feel comfortable to express myself in my home because I was raised really religious and strict. But despite that, I didn't have like I didn't and I wasn't like other kids where, they didn't get no food or, they got I don't know, they had a lot of issues. I didn't have all that. So I'm just thankful. And if I was Brian McKnight's son, I would have been divorced him. I actually thought because my parents were so conservative, I went to go get a divorce. I wanted to divorce my parents. So that's just to let you know my mindset. I would divorce your ass. I don't care. If it's not respecting me, if it's not uplifting me, I will divorce your ass in a minute. I don't care about no community. I don't care none of that. If it's not serving and uplifting and protecting me, I will divorce. I'm not attached to any group. I'm not attached to anybody. Okay? You must be attached to God. That's it. But no, I'm not even attached to my body that I'm in. I'm just not attached to it. So I see that as a blessing because I'm not cursed like so many people where they just feel like they need a relationship with a person, even if they're their parents, even though their parents don't respect you, they don't love you, they don't respect or protect you, but have that, oh, I need it, it's emotional, I just need it. I don't suffer from that. But these boys too, and when Brian McKnight would never give in, and Brian McKnight says that these his sons came out here and said that he's a deadbeat or he's a dead father, he's dead to them. But I don't know, it seemed like they may have said that out of anger, but it's still like they still wanted him around. And even though you see the other guy, he's anger, but if Brian McKnight would have changed his tune, I think he would accept that and there'd be a crying and hugging each other and all full of emotions and stuff like that. So I think they still, for the boys, they still want to be close to Brian McKnight. But Brian McKnight, I just feel like he's just over the situation. I feel Brian McKnight, he feels like he has money, he has a whole different wife, and he just want to be over it. Why do you have to bring it to social media so much? Like, why can't you guys just keep your business your business? I think that you just should keep it secret or, you know, out the limelight. But I'm gonna play some video clips and I'm gonna respond. But I wanted to give you guys my ideas and my opinions on the matter. I know a lot of people, they are very emotional, attached to people when it comes to relationships, when it comes to family ships. And I did not want to talk from their point of view because honestly, that's not who I am. I can try to from their point of view because I think I get what they're coming from because I was raised in that mindset. But personally, I'm not that attached to people or emotionally wise. I'm gonna choose to opt out if it's not benefiting me. I would divorce anybody. Okay, so let me. I just want to get that clear. Okay, okay. Let's go. You guys ready? Check this out.
And most disheartening memories of my life is the day my brother calls me sobbing with all that he's going through, looking death in the eye, to tell me I'm right about telling him not to call my father. Because I knew what was going to happen. Because I knew where my dad was. I told him, man, the dad is gone. Dad's gone. All my brother wanted and needed, asked for, was my father to tell him that he loves him. And my brother responds to him, I can't arbitrarily, or my father responds to my brother that I can't arbitrarily say that I love you.
Right.
But this is the man.
All right. So let's talk about that for a second. That was a lot. And you guys can see how Brian McKnight's son, he is heated. I mean, he's talking with so much passion, with so much emotion. He is heated. He's very disappointed in Brian McKnight. And it seems as though at one point Brian McKnight, he was a father, but I believe that a father is a state of being. I do believe that you can be a father, but then you can stop being a father. And when you stop being a father, to me, you're not a father anymore. You're just a sperm donor. Maybe you were a father to me, but you're not a father anymore. So I don't respect you as a father. And I might call you by your first name. Okay. That's just how I roll. But I know a lot of people, when it comes to fathers and mothers, their standards are so low. Like, if a father comes and take a picture with their son, automatically he gets father of the year. Oh my goodness, he really cared about my son. It's like, I disagree with that. I just still see him as a sperm donor. I feel like a father, you don't take months off, you don't take minutes off. I feel like a father is a state of being. You always constantly teaching your offspring about life, about having courage. And also, you are setting an example as a father is a state of being. Everything you're doing, you should have in your mindset, you know, would I want my offspring to follow in my footsteps when I do this? And I feel like oftentimes a lot of these guys they don't care. They don't see it like that. I feel like most of these guys that I see, it's more so like an ego, it's a pride thing. It's like I have a little me. And no, your kids are not a little you. I just think that is so egotistical. I just think that is so selfish to think that you have another little you. No, you procreated a human with their own mind, their own spirit, and they're gonna hopefully become who they are. But you do have a lot of cultures that want to create a robot, meaning that they want to assemble a human that's just like them. And to me, that's like you're playing God. You want someone to be like you, and I think that's just like your pride. And I think a lot of guys, they have kids based on pride, but not for they really want to, you know, set an example. They have in a mindset, everything I do is going to affect my child. I want to really show them the way to go in this life. You know, they want to set money aside just in case anything happened to their son. Um, if their son become homeless or whatever, they're gonna have a room set aside for them. I think that most of these guys, they don't give a fuck. They don't care. They barely care about them. I feel like as a father, you don't hit your son's mother. You don't harm your son's the person that brought him into this world. And to me, I feel like that's not a father. That is a monster. So I believe that a father is a state of being, and just because you procreate that doesn't make you a father. But I understand that in this society, most people see that as a father. Like once you just procreate, you don't have to be there for the person, for the child. You can see the child only on holidays or whenever. And you're still going to be labeled as a father. And you might even get Father of the Year if you bring home some cookies one day. I'll be looking at like that as a sperm donor. And then you be emotionally attracted to this guy. And it's like he never even did anything. But I think that people are emotional attached to the idea, the fantasy that it could be, the fantasy that he could be a good father. But he was never a good father. But okay, but they are attached to fantasy, you know? And I'm not, I'm good on that fantasy shit when it comes to parenting. No. Maybe in the bedroom I can use some fantasy, but other than that, no. All right. So I feel like this guy is really, really hurt. And he told his brother, he warned his brother that his father, I don't even like to call Brian McKnight their father because I don't see him as a father. Maybe he was at one point, but he's not a father now. He's just a guy to me. But I'll call him the father out of respect because that's how they identify this guy as a father. So their father would not, he was like, you know, don't call father because father is not going to say he loves you because he's gone. And I'm assuming that when he says he's gone, meaning that the guy that we once knew, the guy that, you know, raised us, that's not the same guy anymore. And I think that's very important because people change. Everybody is not going to in this world the same. You know, you were raised one way possibly, but based on who you were raised, that don't mean that that's who you are. But people change. But going to Brian McKnight, why did he change? Why was he a loving father to these guys? And then automatically, I guess he changed. I don't know what made Brian McKnight transition into being a loving father to not being a loving father. I think it has a lot to do with their mom. I don't know exactly the story on that, but why did I don't know. I cannot answer why that Brian McKnight did the transition. I guess if I look more and deeper, he'd probably tell us, you know, why did he change up on him or why did, you know. But it's just interesting, right? So I'm gonna continue to play more.
And that wanted to help him.
Why do you say that?
When we talked, and we did talk to him, we talked to his wife. We got to go back. So earlier that year, that May, he's on the Shade Room. He's saying things like, oh, now remember, they've lied on me, but they continue to double down and triple down on the rhetoric. If my dad needed this, I wouldn't do this for him. He's dead to me, blah, blah, blah. Now we come to find out that 3 days after that's when he got diagnosed. They waited because he didn't have insurance. They waited 4 months. According to all statistics, 91% of colon cancer diagnosis that are caught early are curable.
Right.
Because they didn't tell us. I had to find out from somebody else.
Right.
Then I heard from them.
So were you the last?
We were the last to find out.
Wow.
So once we found out, we sprung into action. What can we do? Can we get the scans? Can we do this? Can we do that? Anton, by this time it was stage 4. You've lied on me. Right. You don't come to me. In my opinion, they martyred him so that they could keep this going.
That's deep. That's really deep.
That's what I truly believe.
Yeah.
Everybody's heard that voicemail. I will leave with you the messages that we sent. Leilani sent them.
All right. So that was a lot too. When I first look at this, I just feel like your family business should stay your family. And I feel like once you're putting your family business out on social media, to me, you don't respect your family. You cannot respect your family and exploit your family's secrets or tell your family story. And that goes for all sides because at the end of the day, what the fuck can I do about this but make commentary about it? I mean, I'm sure people can learn from this, but I would not want to be, look, you guys, come into my bedroom. I want you guys to take a lesson at this. No, I disagree with all that. and I do commentary on people's personal life, but I don't pry. I don't go into people's personal home and put a camera there. Only thing I talk about is shit that's already out there, and that's just my job to do so. But for those and those celebrities that constantly put their personal business out here and just influencers, I don't know. I just think it's crazy. Have I done it before? I have done it and I regret it. I regret being so personal to social media. That's why I went so many years without being personal at all. Okay. Hell no. No, 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 no. But I dibble and dabble because I've already put so much out. So people expect that from me. But you can't expect that from me because that's just not who I am today. And I've learned to realize that people want nostalgia. They want to go back to yesterday years, and yesterday years are dead to me, and they will always be dead. And I don't get any validation there. I don't get anything there. All right. So going back here, and I also want to touch on this topic or this comment. They said, man, Brian McKnight said he'll give them his all. Really? Really? He did say that? Brian McKnight said he'll give them his all? What do you mean by that? Because according to the boys, they don't feel that. So what does your all entail? I need to know. I cannot deal with vague comments, especially when it comes to my personal relationships. I have to know, what do you mean by that? I'm going to ask you 50 questions about one comment you make. That's just how I am. It says, because I don't want to mistake you, because oftentimes with communication, we assume and we just don't know until we ask. And what's wrong with asking? And you should be able to communicate what you said. You should be able to communicate the meaning behind the statement that you make, to me at least. Now, everybody else, you can tell them a whole bunch of bull crap and they're going to believe it because they want to believe it or whatever have you. But when it comes to me, I'm just different. So it says, Brian said they were very disrespectful towards him and he got tired and walked away from them. Well, okay. He was and I'm assuming this is when they were adults. So you have grown men that were being very disrespectful to you. Now, why is that? Is it because Brian McKnight, he's moved on? He got a new family? Were the boys jealous of Brian McKnight relationship with his other stepkids? I mean, I don't know that dynamic. But all we hear is Brian McKnight is a horrible, I guess, father. But then I don't know. Do I feel like he's a horrible father? I don't know how I feel about that. One, because he raised his kids, right? Like he was 18. I don't After you hit 8, like I said before, I don't feel like parents are, I think they could give your ass up, right? That's how I be thinking. Like they could give you up for adoption, and I'm sure some people is better off getting adopted versus being raised in horrible environments. But that's how I saw mine. I was like, well, shit, I don't like my, household being very conservative, but like I was trying to get a divorce. Okay, I was like, any place is better than this hellhole. um. So I left at 17 years old. I left my home at 17 years old. My parents wanted me to stay. I didn't want to be under their roof. I didn't want to live their lifestyle. So I say that to say, like once I hit 17, 18, I didn't want anything from them anymore because I felt like it came with strings attached. If I was to receive anything, I would have to pretend to be in this Christian lifestyle that they believe in. So I didn't want that. So I was like, no, I want to do it on my own. I always wanted freedom since I was 11, 12 years old. I wanted my freedom. So once I got my freedom, I just left. So after 17, I wasn't calling my daddy and said, Daddy, I need this. Daddy, I need that. Now, if you have that relationship as a grown up person and that's what you want, I think that's kudos for you. But when these guys turned 18 and they still want him to, I guess, be this father figure that they had and they knew when they were little boys, I be feeling like that's it. In my belief, I be feeling like that's a problem. I feel like when you're in your teens, your parents should be preparing you for adulthood, meaning getting your credit together, okay? Uh Learning finances, all of that. So when you get 18, 19, you know how to fly. Now for me, I was sheltered. So I wanted to get a job, but my parents would not allow me to get a job. And I just felt like my parents were pretty much cutting off my growth. So I had to get that freedom and go. Like I went to college. I had a full ride college scholarship. And even then, when I was in college, my parents didn't want me to work. They want me to focus on school. But I was like, no, I'm grown now and I'll get me a job because I wanted independence so bad. When I was a child, all I wanted was freedom and independence. Okay. I didn't want to live under nobody's roof. I didn't want to live under nobody's rule. I didn't want to take anything. I guess one thing I would, a man, I don't know what it was about a man, but when I was young, I I think society told me that I need to be in a relationship because when I was a young mind, all my life I've been told you got to get married, having kids, marriage, marriage, kids, kids, marriage, marriage. At 11, I decided I didn't want any kids. I said, because if I'm living like this as a child and I'm not even able to express myself and be who I want to be, I have to pretend in front. I don't want any child to go through this shit. And it's like they tell you, oh, you're going to have a child. But in my mind, at 11, it was like, if I ever have a child, they're going to push their ideas on my child. I'm not going to have my child for myself. So fuck it. And if all society feels like my parents feel, like the Christians, I said, no, I don't want to bring any life into this world. No, that's not right. So that marriage thing, I just wanted a man to help me. I didn't want to depend on my parents. I just wanted to depend on a dude. You know what I mean? But going back to Brian McKnight and his sons. Now his sons were still wanting father to be father when they were of age, like adults. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm gonna be quiet because I don't want to say nothing to hurt y'all feelings, you know? So yeah, I'm gonna leave that one alone. It says, this is awful. They need to pray for their father and stop using their father name for clout. Yeah, I mean, why do they? Why constantly put your personal business out on social media? I mean, they've been doing this for years. Has it helped? Like, because of the boys have been putting the business out and Brian McKnight has been putting the business out, do you guys think by them putting their business out on social media, it has helped the family? I don't think it helped. I don't see the help at all. They've been doing this for years and it hasn't did shit, but gave other people have more shit, more content. And I think it's been a horrible situation for Brian. They said that, a lot of people that look up to Brian or listen to Brian is a lot of females, and a lot of those females are very emotional, attached to Brian. I guess his love songs. I was never attached to Brian McKnight. I've never been a fan. His music, I think there's cool, but one last cry, but then okay. But no, I was never a Brian McKnight. Why wasn't I a Brian McKnight fan? I think most people are Brian McKnight fan want a fantasy guy. They want that dream man. They want that, fantasy perfect idea type of guy to marry. And I think that Brian McKnight, he symbols that for those women that listen to him, that are fans of him, or those guys that want to be this fantasy perfect being that Brian McKnight, his brand, portrayed. But I've never been attached to celebrities. I've always saw celebrities as just, you just make good music, but I never feel like I know them. I never take it personal. And I feel like so many people, when it comes to entertainers, they take it personal. They feel like they know these people. They want to be so emotional attached to these celebrities. I've never been that way. Like, I never had a hunger to be emotional attached to any celebrity, honestly. I just accept you for the music you push, great. But I really don't want to, I don't care about Brian McKnight Day. Just make some good music. I'm going to listen to it and I'm going to be done with you. And that's about it. But I feel like those individuals that wanted that emotional, that perfect guy, when they find out that Brian McKnight was doing this to their son, and he was saying some mean things, and then he had a new family, and I think those women that followed him, it did not align with their beliefs, and they were emotionally connected to Brian on a personal level. So that cut them. They was like, they were turned off. So they really couldn't even listen to the music anymore, because so often people idolize celebrities and they don't just take them as entertainment. They take them more. It's personal to them. So, they see him as horrible. So it went down for his business, and that's about it. It just went down for his business, but his son just wanted him to say, I love you. And Brian McKnight, I guess he said he could not say it because he's not honest with it. He does not possibly love the child. And how do you guys feel about that? How is it okay? Well, shit, and what do you do if you want your father to say they love you, but they honestly don't love you? What do you do with that? Comment, let me know. If I was in that situation, like I said, I'm not the sons. If I was on my deathbed and my father have not said he loved me, I probably would not want to see my father on my deathbed. I wouldn't want my father to go to my funeral. I would want my father to acknowledge me. I would just want to get a divorce and just say, Father, I release you. Go off. I am no longer your child. Please don't ever acknowledge me. And let's just go be bygones. And I will be fine. I won't look back because that's just how I am. But for the sons, they I guess they was hanging on to the Brian that they once knew. But I do realize that people do transition, they move on, and they're not the same person that you once knew, and you just have to you got to mourn that, and you just have to cut your ties and move on. Just because it's the same body doesn't mean that the person inside is the same person, is the same mind frame. It's different, and if it's not aligning with you, cut it off. Okay, I will cut shit off in a heartbeat. So and yeah, that's how I would be. But, the sons clearly are not me. And he really wanted Brian McKnight to say he loved him. And he went on a limb after the brother said, don't do it, don't do it. And he's still there. And it really hurted him, I'm sure. I'm sure it would. If you was like, no, I want to hang on faith, brother. And I'm still going to call Pops. And I just want him to say he loved me. He proud of me and all this and all that. And Brian McKnight would do it, And I'm sitting up here and I'm like, damn, I have parents that tell me they love me and they're proud of me all the time. And I take it for granted. I promise you. My mom, my stepfather, my aunties, my father, I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. I'm like, okay. I take it for granted. I'll be like, man, okay, you don't have to tell me that, but okay, And it goes to show that we all are so different. Some of us want certain things, some of us need certain things. Now, for me, what I would want from my parents and from my aunties, that would help me out. I want them to be better people. What do you mean by that? I want some of my aunties and uncles not to be so lazy. I want them to be more financial better, because if I really fall on hard times, I want to be able to go to my auntie and say, hey auntie, I need help with this X, Y, and Z. And I think the best love is when you love yourself and you do for yourself, where you can grow and have security and financial security so you can really cover other people. But for you to just tell me you love me, you're proud of me, okay, cool. But I need you to be a strong armor if I ever fail. I can't rely on emotional. You love me. That's not gonna pay my bills. That's not gonna give me a comfortable lifestyle. So, and that's not. I mean, if you're not doing anything in your life, I can't look up to you. I can't admire you. You know. So yeah, or if I can't call you for wisdom, like if I feel like I have more wisdom than you, how are you older than me and you can't help me with shit with wisdom? So I don't know what you call that, but that's what I've been needing. But all the I love you, I'm proud of you, it really don't do nothing for me. Honestly, if I'm speaking honestly, I'd be like, oh, okay, thanks. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Versus when someone tells you that, it's like, oh my God, that really meant the world to me, and I feel because I cut off a lot of expectations when I was 11. So therefore I did not live for my parents. I did not live for the approval of my aunties. I stopped living for the approval of anybody at the age of 11. Now, 11 younger, yes, I was a teacher's pet. I was really longing for people acceptance and love. But 11 years old, no, I cut all that off. So shit, you tell me you proud of me now. I'm like, thank you. But I think it's really for you. I'm like, I don't give a damn if you was proud of you wasn't. Yeah. But thank you though, I guess. But I just say that to say that we are all so different. So let me continue here. Let me play it more.
Message that said to his wife, you don't even have to tell him that it's us. We just want to help whatever we can do. And then they're like, well, he would have had to stay at your house and they wouldn't have been able to see him. I'm like, we never made that a stipulation. Mm-hmm. The facility that we found, that the only one that would allow him to come was closer to our house.
Right.
All
Darkest
right.
and coldest.
Hey, Island Girl, how you doing, sweetheart? Brian saying that ex-wife made their son get cancer. I'll play it again, but he said that their son was sick for a long time, Island Girl, and they never told him. He said he had to find out he was sick from someone else. And when he found out that he was sick from someone else, it was too late because it has progressed to 91%. And he feels that they kept it away from him, knowing that he has the resources to help, because they purposely wanted to kill him so they can pin it on Brian. So they wanted to be like, okay, we're not going to ask him for help, even though we know he can help this. Don't ask him for help. And you gonna die, and it's gonna be on his terms because he abandoned y'all. So they wanted to, have somebody to blame. They always looking for an enemy. So that's how Brian feels, that they always want to use him to blame something. They needed a scapegoat. They need a devil in their storyline, So that is how Brian feels. And he feels that, they allowed it to get this ill so they can use that and weaponize against Brian and make him a bad guy to continue the bad guy narrative against him. That's how he felt. That's what he said. All right. So, what do you guys just say? Said he couldn't let go of his anger long enough to tell his dying son that he loved him. Island, no. And it sounds like you know more about it. So, Island, if you can talk to me more, maybe that would help. So, why was Brian McKnight angry? You said he couldn't let go of his anger. So, why was Brian McKnight angry? What was the anger about? Mhm. Telling his son that he loved him. Yeah. So, no, I guess he was like, he didn't want to say it. It wasn't coming from an honest place. I don't know if Brian is one of those people that be like, I just got to be so real. I got to be so honest all the time. And some people regret saying nice stuff, even if it's not true, you know, because do he love Brian? I mean, did Brian McKnight love him? I mean, how they've been beefing, I would say possibly not. Love is what love does. Love is an action word. You have to show up for love. Love is not just a word to say, even though that's how a lot of you guys, I feel like, push it out here. But love is an action. So let me see. It says here, it says, so sad. I know he needed that. Yeah, he needed that. So let's ask a question. Yeah, he needed that. Would you guys needed that if your father I guess had anger against you and he was not there for you and you're about to die, would you need your father to tell you he loves you? Press 1 if you need that from your biological father. Press 7 if you don't need that. And just goes to show all of us don't need the same thing. Cause me, I would need that at all. If you're not showing me love, I would divorce early and I just be so unattached. So I don't need it. I don't even want it. I don't want nobody telling me they love me when they don't. I just rather you not come to my funeral. I'd rather you just leave me alone. Okay. And that's peace for me. But like I said, we're all different. It said, wait, so he didn't know? Miss D, he said he found out when it was too late. He found out after 91% of the colon cancer. He said that you guys know cancer is preventable. And once you allow it to get to that stage, then it's pretty much curtains. And he said they kept it away from him because they wanted him to die. Because he felt like if once you found out that you had cancer, you should have humbled yourself and reached out to him to get some help. And they did not do that. They failed to do it. So he felt like, they killed him. Okay. Why was he upset? Which one? You said is 3 men in this situation. Is Brian McKnight, 2 biological sons, and then it's him, so I don't know which one you're referring to. It says, I'm sorry, but Brian is cold-hearted for not being able to find any love for his dying son. Yeah, he could be cold-hearted. I mean, cold-hearted? I guess. Cold hearted, meaning there's no love there. Cold hearted. I don't know if I could say he's cold hearted just because once he found out, he did make moves to try to help. Cold hearted to me is once you find out, you say, hey, my son is 91%, he's dying. And you'd be like, oh, okay, we'll pray for him and I'll see you guys on the funeral. To me, that's cold-hearted. You call, hey, your son got colon cancer. He's about to die, 91%. And he responds, said, oh, I'm so sorry. I will pray for him. Let me know when the funeral comes. I feel like that's cold-hearted, okay? But when Brian heard the news, he rushed to their assistance. He went to the hospital. He tried to fork up money to get him, seen by, I guess, best or new doctors. Like, he was putting in the effort. That's not cold hearted, because a cold hearted person, to me, is not even going to try and just say, just give me the funeral details. There's nothing I can do about it. It's God's will. God's will be done. Everything that happens is because God willed it. So God's will be done. So I think that's more of a cold hearted, that's from my point of view. So it says cold hearted for not being able to find any love for his dying son. Yeah. His dying son. Yeah. His dying son. I also feel like people are attached to, I guess, the earthly family dynamic. And the reason why I say earthly family dynamic, because when you die, the sons and the fathers, I don't believe that exists anymore. And I know in the Christian religion, it's more so you're not going to have the same dynamic relationships. You can't have any favorites. Basically, you know how an earthly mother will have favor towards her earthly son. To get into heaven in the Christian realm, you can't have that. It's all glory, all love has to be to God. He's a jealous God. He'll get jealous over the emotional love of your kids or whatever. So I don't know how that works, but shit, in the energy realm and the spirit realm, that's just what it is. In everything that's earthly, it's like I said, this is just a temporary, earthly is just temporary. So I don't know. In a spiritual realm, are they even going to connect? Are they going to? I doubt it. But that's just my opinion on that one. But let's continue on. It says, which one is the son that passed? He refused to tell his son, Nico, because in the title it says he refused to tell his son, Nico, I love you, on his deathbed. So Nico. All right. How old was he when he passed? He was in his 30s, I believe his young 30s. When Nico passed, I think it was like 31 or 29, late 20s, early 30s for sure. Okay. Why was Brian McKnight upset with the kids? I believe that he was upset because the kids aired them out. I believe that Brian McKnight was giving them money. And I believe when the kids got in their mid 20s, Brian McKnight cut them off financially. And I believe the boys, they went on social media, cussed them out because Brian McKnight cut them off financially, and then he decided to take his stepkids and give his stepkids love, and he showed favoritism to his stepkids. And his biological kids did not like that their biological father was showing more favoritism to his stepkids. So it was a jealousy there. And Brian McKnight, I guess, had to say, hey, my wife comes first. And I'm assuming possibly her kids come first, because from Brian's perspective, the behavior and the character of the kids under his wife is more obedient to Brian than Brian's biological sons. Okay. I don't think that Brian wanted his sons to be obedient to him. And they were not. They were rebellious. They did what they wanted to do. And Brian McKnight was like, hey, I'm not going to continue to fund your lifestyle. Your guys are grown. And he had more conservative viewerships when it comes to that. And the boys didn't like it, and they aired him out for it. And a lot of people sided with the boys because they were his biological kids. Then you have to factor in that Brian McKnight's current wife is not African American. So, people have issues with that as well. and they have an issue with Brian McKnight showing favoritism and owning his stepkids as his own. Certain people, I guess don't like that. So you have those dynamics. All right. So how you doing? Can you please pronounce your name so I can pronounce it better? Because I know I'm gonna mess it up.
No worries.
Great. You said who?
Edna.
Hey, Edna. I'm so glad that you joined my panel. What are your thoughts about it, Edna?
This is interesting to me because of the Oprah special that she had talking about how children being no contact with their parents is a new trend, which that's a whole nother story. But just bank.
Well, we can talk about that because I like that. I think more kids need to be detached from their parents that's not serving them any good.
Right. And I think this is why, like, this is like a celebrity example of why so many people go no contact. And the fact that, people make it like blame the children as if, um, because I'm not in no contact, but I'm low contact. That's how I would say it, right? And it's like we don't choose this because we just don't want to have anything to do with them for the fun of it, or whatever they might be thinking in their minds. It's like it's a last resort. And even on his deathbed, his son still wanted his father, and he was, and Brian wasn't able to be that father for him. And it's heartbreaking to see. And this is why so many people are no contact.
Yeah, I think it's best. I think the boys should have divorced Brian a long time ago. And I think Brian should have divorced the boys a long time ago. I feel like society, which is make believed by men, and it's like whatever you guys decide to be, have this emotional, like, I don't know, like, let's all fake it to get along. Let's all come to the family dinner, fake acting like we like each other just because we're blood related. And it's
Mhm.
so fake and phony, and it does more harm than good. But let's just get in the picture just for the sake of it. I tell you right
Mhm.
now, I don't like taking pictures with bitches I really don't know, family or not. They be like, come in. I'm like, no, because I don't care for that person. I really don't know you that well. So I don't want to give off this. I'm an asshole for real. But no, I just don't like it. I want to take pictures with people I know and people I like.
Right.
I just don't want to share my space. I'm very selfish when it comes to my space and access. And I have that right. And I love that. I love that for me. I love it so much. But yeah, I agree. I think that more people need to cut it off. But like I said, I think it's the brainwashing. I know when I was a child growing up, I was brainwashed to feel like I needed family. Like, oh
Right.
my God, you gotta have family. Family is the only people that got your back. That's a damn lie. Okay. Now you notice on social media, because so many people are attached to so many people, you hear all the time, y'all are more good to me than my biological family. Y'all
Yeah.
support me than my biological family. So that whole fake brainwashing, oh, you need blood family, that is false. You need people that's going to love, respect you, and protect you.
Yes.
And if that's not your blood family, cut them off. You don't need them. Trust me. You can survive in this world. You can have a happy life without them. And that's just the truth of the matter. But growing up, under parents, they brainwash you to feel like you need them. They want you to be so, I know for me, uh,
Mhm.
they brainwashed me to feel like I need to be dependent on them. And I felt that until when I was 11 years old. I said, you know what? I don't like this.
Right. When
I
you shared that,
I
I could
hate
relate.
this. I hate
Mhm.
this. And I was just trying to figure out how can I get out of this prison that I was in. And, as parents, you're good parents when your kids can come to you and tell you how they're feeling. But I
Mhm.
didn't have that structure. I was raised in a household where kids are not allowed to talk. I was not allowed to express myself. All I was allowed to do is take orders and just be obedient. So I couldn't talk to them, of course, because they're my prisoners. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I was just plotting and planning, baby. And I said, I'm just going to have to pretend, fake it, whatever they think I am. I'm just going to have to do it till I get out of this prison. And then
Right.
I will have a little bit of a piece of happiness. Then once I did that, then they attached my ass with money. You need some money, don't you?
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
yeah. Don't you want to have your own place? Okay. All right, now we expecting this out of you. Come on now, we expecting. Damn. So even in my young adult years, I still had to. I wanted to get to a place where I did not depend on them for shit, but I needed them in order to get my own place, in order to help. But I did not need them for real, because I could have depended on a man that was older that was helping me out, but they didn't want me to go that route. I had options on the board now. Shit. Okay. But you're absolutely right, and I definitely agree with your stance on this. And I think that if they would have got divorced earlier, Brian McKnight's sons and Brian, we would not be in the chat group of they're going back and forth. And I believe that Nico, he wouldn't be so heartbroken because he would have got over that heartbroken. I know for me, I mourned my parents in my teens. Like
Okay.
I was crying because I was like, I ain't gonna never see them again. Because my plan was to leave, go to college, and never return. I didn't plan to
Okay.
be around them anymore because I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
live my life, and my life did not include my family.
Right.
So I was okay with that, and I was fine with it. I was looking forward to it. But
Mm-hmm.
my parents and my family, they were so emotional attached to me, they wouldn't let me
Mm-hmm.
go. They literally would not let me go. And then when I came out, I was like, listen, I'm gay, I'm fucking trans. Now let me the fuck go. I thought that was gonna be the nail in the coffin. Girl, they was like, I don't give a fuck. I want you here.
Wow.
You're my child. Don't you ever go. And I was like, well, shit, okay.
That's exactly how it should be.
But I
That's
was
beautiful.
ready. I was ready. Okay. I
Yeah.
was done with it and I was fine with it. I was so fine with it. But they were not.
Well, because
And
you
they
learn how
fought.
to adjust and
They
you build
fought
your
for
a
me.
new family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. So you mentioned divorce, right? I think on Brian's, on the parent side, he, especially as a black male, not the stereotype is, sorry, but I've heard too many black men talk about how they're more loyal to the family that they are with than the family that they create. And it's like once you leave the woman, you leave the kids, and that's on her.
Yeah.
So in their minds, on the parent on the on the father's side, there's a divorce. When they're done, they're done. But children, I think just now, in younger generations, we're getting to the point where children can get to that place where, like you said, you did your grieving, you went through the process, and you were good, right?
Yeah.
We have that for children, or we're just now getting to that place where there's no or I don't know, is there a legal divorce?
Yeah, they were legally divorced, and I mean that you can divorce your parents, and I did talk to my parents about that, and I said I do want a
Oh,
divorce from you guys. I did. I got up the strength and the courage. I was like 14 at the time, where I told them I wanted to
wow.
divorce, and they were heartbroken. And I went to my high school. I went to counselors, and I told them I
Hmm.
wanted to divorce my parents. I had the people come to my house because I wanted to leave. I said I live in a fucking cult religion. Like it's
Wow.
not right. Like I
Yeah.
want to leave. I want to leave. And look,
I mean, no,
man,
that's incredible to be so young and be that so self-assured. That's
yes.
amazing.
Yes. And my family was my people in high school. My family was them,
Right.
because they will comfort me. It was like, that's not right. Even though I didn't even come out to them, I don't
Mhm.
know if they knew or not, whatever. But they were just like, that's not right. They were comforting me. So that is the people that I disclosed to. I didn't go to
Mhm.
my auntie or my uncles, nothing like that. The reason why I did not on both sides, I always feel like that's not my family. I've always felt like those are my parents' family. And I did not
Oh.
want to take her family or his family and weaponize against them because I wanted nothing from the divorce. I'm like, keep your sisters, keep your family, just leave me the fuck alone. Okay.
So you didn't have like a cousin or nobody that you could confide in like in your family?
Cousins, no. No, not really, because everybody in my family is very religious.
Okay.
So, and
Yeah.
everybody in my
Well,
family
no, I've
is
heard
more
about.
family based. So it's like
Okay.
family over anything, family over individual. So it's not more like who you are. It's just you better conform and align. And if
Right.
you're
Oh, the
not
family
conforming and
unit.
aligning, then it's a problem with you. Something is wrong with
Right.
you. So, like I said, I didn't want to do the inner family thing. So
Mhm.
I just wanted to I just wanted to I just wanted you to leave me alone. Shit.
Yeah. Live and let live.
Right. But I'm so happy. My family dynamic, my family love, adores me. They keep telling me they're so proud of me and they love me. It get on my nerves.
Mhm.
But I'm like, okay. So my dynamic since I was 11 now has been a blessing. It's been great. I
Mhm.
do call some of my family. My mother is very sensitive, so I can't talk about much to her. Just good news, no bad news, no
Okay.
issues, no problems, because she worries so much. And I would think you a Christian, you shouldn't be worrying all that because worry is a sin. But you know, let them tell. I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah.
but everything is fine, child.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. And thank you for having me up. I just wanted to add that extra 2 cents that you like I get that like he was done, he was divorced, but I just don't think we're there culturally for that to be acceptable for like he like in the court of what is it, public opinion, he
Right.
was judged harshly because this is harsh for him to treat his dying son that way that you I don't know. I mean, I could just
But
leave it at that.
can we talk about that too? His son. Is that really his son? I mean, he wasn't treating him like a son. To me, I labels a lot of things to me are just labels. I feel like it's a state of being for me. If you're not acting like a father, if you're not living like a father, to me you're not a father, you know? But
Right.
I do feel
But
like
for
in
him,
society, you guys are still stuck on labels. And even like if you have a husband, he not acting like no husband. He ain't loving you like husband, but he's in your mind, he's still your fucking husband. To me, it's
right?
like, no, girl, that's been not your husband. It's just a label at this point. That's
No,
my
see, just
belief.
yeah, because for a husband, for even a son, you can have multiples. You only have one father. And I think that's the difference from Nico's point of view is that there's no other man, there's no other person that could play that role but him. And I
Okay,
think, yeah, go ahead.
what is a father?
I mean, that's the thing, right? If
What is
I
a
don't know how
father?
old, but that's what I'm saying. How old was Nico when he passed? You know?
I believe late 20s, early 30s. But I'm asking everybody in the chat, what is a father? We know what a sperm donor is, right? That is
Right.
the person that you came from their nut sacks, they procreated, and you came. That's biology, right? But
Hmm.
besides biology, what is a father?
Yeah, I just think he's also at that age where he might not have actually gone through that processing because when I said like that was amazing for you at that age to have that death, like I really mean that because we have grown people walking around with mommy and daddy issues, right? So even him at his big age of whatever, I still feel
They
like it's more on Brian.
they expect, I feel like, a lot of people, society expects so
Hmm.
much from labels. Like, okay, I label you this, so I expect you to do X, Y, and Z. That's not fucking reality. You could look around and see that's not reality. That is a fantasy. For you expect all fathers that have that label to do X, Y, and Z. All
I
fathers are not created equally. You know,
I
so
disagree because it's like let's say you go grocery shopping, right?
yes,
Those labels mean something because we see what's happening with our administration and regulations where
what
opening up
happened?
is water is the ocean spray. It's a whole thing where so many cans were there was no cranberries. They were filled with water, and it was other
Exactly.
brands.
But
Yeah, it
that
was
goes to
brands.
my point too. It's labeled one thing, but it's actually something else. So, do the labels matter if it's labeled 100% pure and it's 100% not? I wouldn't go off the label.
But then it's random. It's like not crapshoot. What is it? It's like Russian roulette. You don't know what you're getting, and I think that's where we are, where people are going around being with men, and you don't know if you're going to get a father or a sperm donor
Well, you're going to have to test that thing out, right?
with a child,
Well, you're gonna have to test it out, not with a child,
with
but
a pet
I think
baby.
that there are signs, like if this guy has multiple baby mothers and he's not even a father figure to them, that will go be like, you know what? Let's not procreate with that one. Even though he might say stuff, but we all know that males, they lie, especially black males, they lie. Their culture support them for lying. They're good with mouth talk. We know this, right? Well, if you don't know it, they're gonna lie to you. Okay, they're
I'm
good at
gonna say no
lying.
comment.
They're good at lying. They gonna lie to you to get in your panties. I'm sure every parent have told a child that these niggas gonna lie to get in your panties. They gonna lie to get what they want. They gonna manipulate. So you have to know that, and you just have to know that. And if you don't know that, then you're gonna face a lot of horrible roads ahead. Your journey is going to be very tough if you're naive and feeling like, these men that what they tell you is face value, that you can really trust them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So you have to do the work. But with Brian, when does w- what else did they want from Brian?
That I mean, for him specifically, he's in the wrong, but with the whole offering to help for for the treatment and everything, not necessarily. Because if he didn't know, he didn't know, and
Yeah. But they
yeah.
had issues before the treatment, before that cancer stuff. I mean, this was getting out of hand before. And I was asking, like, what do they want from Brian? Like, after you turn 18, what else do you want? Like, what do you expect from a father after you turn 18?
I think they still expect him to be a father, to be a dad, to be
What
able
what is
to
that?
go
What is it? What is
to
that?
hang out, to have hobbies together, or to go to for advice. You don't stop needing advice when you turn 18.
Okay. Do you think that they could not get advice from him? He just said you guys can't get advice. Brian said that he would give them advice, but they're just disobedient.
Well, I mean, so I can imagine, this is total projection. I don't know these people, right? complete strangers. But if he is an absent father, he wasn't present on the road or what have you, he wouldn't have the connection, he wouldn't have the relationship to be able to give them effective advice.
Okay. So would they go for him for advice? If that's the case, then why go to him?
I mean, I think that's maybe part of it because it's like he's their father, so they're gonna want him to play that father role, and he's the father, so he's gonna want to play that role. But what he has in his mind as that role and what they're expecting to get, there's a disconnect, obviously, right? And then also he might be thinking, well, I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna tell you, um, like the blueprint, and it's on you to go put in the hard work. And they might be thinking, you've already made it. You built the mansion. Let me come get a room, and they're not on the same
But
page.
that's not Brian shouldn't be obligated to that. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said,
No, it's not an
father is
obligation,
subjective. That's why I said,
right? But
what is a father? Like,
I
father
think
is
that's
subjective. I think that for me, a father is someone that's, you know, protecting you. But I think that's in childhood. After you turn 18, um, you said, you should always have advice. Okay, I guess. But okay, okay, let me go on my situation.
hmm
I don't call my father for advice because I don't like their advice. So I'm not calling them. I don't
right.
admire their advice. So, I- you know,
And I mean, I think that's kind of where we've gone as a society with social media, where we have these algorithms that are echo chambers that just feed us what we want to hear, right? But that's why I like to get on the YouTube where, I can type in whatever and kind of branch out into different things where you're still going to get recommended whatever, but it's easier to find different stuff and to get different points of view.
I think you better off just getting a father figure that have that authority or idea what you want to be in life, like a role
hmm
model or
Or a mentor.
a mentor, and have that. Some people have their spiritual pastors as their spiritual fathers. I think
hmm
it's best to have a spiritual father than, for me, okay, like finances. I don't think that neither one of my fathers are good at finances because I look at theirs and I'm not inspired at all. So I wouldn't even go to them. It's like, yikes.
Right.
What would I go for relationship? I would never go to neither of my fathers for relationship. So what are they there for?
But see,
Um,
Jessica, that goes back to you being more advanced because a lot of people don't don't get that far. They're talking to their hairdresser, whomever, and getting advice from them about what's going on in the stock market and stuff. They're just, you
that
know
is
what I mean? You
bananas.
know, yeah, that it's so many people because like anybody can get up here and they're on a platform and they can talk as if they're an authority and they're not. And you have to have enough sense and discernment to realize when somebody giving you advice that you should take or should be like, oh, that's an example of what not to do,
Got
right?
it.
But he was I would say Nico was still young enough that he didn't have that, especially with his father.
Yeah. For me, the roles has reversed. They call me for advice.
Oh.
Yeah. Now I tell them what to do. Honestly, the roles has reversed.
Well,
I'm
we're all
no
just
longer
living for the.
I'm no longer the child. I am the parent.
Mhm.
I have more authority. Okay? They look at me as the leader, the strong one. Okay?
Yeah. Because I mean, you being younger, you're more in tune to what's going on in the world. Plus, I think we don't realize we're all just living for the first time. And granted, if somebody has, a decade or two on you, they definitely have an advantage. But, nobody
I
knows
disagree
what's
with
going.
that one.
Really?
Yeah, because the world that they were built, like the world that my parents raised me for,
Hmm.
don't exist. It never
That's
existed.
exactly.
It
But
never.
they,
And now this world, they're like out of touch.
hmm,
They feel like they are in a space. They don't recognize it. They don't know. I'm more
right.
familiar with this world. I can navigate it. I understand it, but they don't. They're lost. So
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Where they, it's like because time has changed, right? And even still, if you really want to get into it, the powers that be have such a veil. Like when you talk about religion, how people are so. Well, when I just leave it. When you talk about religion, that's an example of how people believe into something, and and it might not be for their best good.
definitely, they were brainwashed. You know, I believe
Hmm.
my parents are brainwashed and was told don't question anything, and they just don't question anything. But when I came along, should I question everything? And I
Yeah.
got punished for it, questioning stuff. But that was just who I was. That was my generation, I guess.
Hmm.
So yeah. But Island Girl said that Brian will get with his karma. This is evil. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like it's evil what Brian did?
I used to feel like evil and demonic was too strong, but the thing like but also, not being able to that you gave, well, I mean not birth to, but that came from you indirectly and on their deathbed, that feels evil to me, right?
Well, shit, I might
And
be evil.
I'm sorry.
I said I might be evil.
I think any of us can be, right? It's what we choose to lean into or not. And for
Mhm.
him to allow that to be it, I feel like yes, because if that's his energy, I feel like karma is just your energy, right? And if you live in that negativity and that evilness where you put certain people above others and you're able to completely disconnect you from people that you have a lifelong bond to, that's karma. I feel like yeah, that's definitely gonna come back.
Mm. I feel like it's more honesty than evil. And can honesty and evil can they be the same? I guess they can. But if I had a father and he was not that good to me, I would never tell him I love him just to make him feel better. I probably wouldn't even show up to his funeral. But that's me. Now that might be evil, you know? If I had a son, first of all, if I had a son, I don't think I would never be in the situation that Brian is in. I will always have discipline and have my understanding. I don't know. It feels like a lot of it came from jealousy with Brian treating the other kids better. And I think they had an issue with how Brian treated the other kids and he saw those kids as his own. And I think
Hmm.
that's where a lot of the fallout came out from. But if I was Brian, damn, I can't even be Brian, but I'm gonna try. But I'm Brian McKnight, and I have my own stepkids that I love and adore, and I adore them more than I love my biological kids, and that can be true. That is true a lot of times. I remember when I was young, I used to have so many parents come to me and they say, I wish I had a child like you. You're so obedient. You're so this. You're the perfect child. And they would tell me they will replace me with their child in a heartbeat if they could. Honestly. So people do have issues with their biological kids, and some don't want them, and some feel some type of way. It's honest. They're human. I feel like society be like, you shouldn't feel that way, but that's fuck how you feel. But if I was
But it's not
Brian,
really reality.
which one?
Because you talking about people preferring you over their biological children?
Uh huh.
That's not reality because you were in a mindset of survival.
Yeah,
doing
but
what
they
you
didn't
could to
know
get
that.
out.
But
But
they
that's
didn't
what
know
I'm
that.
saying. That's like apples and oranges. If they have a true connection to their kids, yeah, they're not gonna, love their or like their kids, every second of the day because they're gonna get some pushback. They're gonna get those questions and what have you.
Hmm. But
They're
yeah,
not gonna be little robots.
but that's what a lot of parents want. A lot of parents want little me's. So when people used to say that to me, I would smile and I just eat it up because that's what the parent want me to do, of course.
Right.
Because maybe their kids were unruly and rebellious, but I knew how to perform. So I performed for my parents. And I felt that that's the only way I can get out of here if I act good and I do what they wanted me to do. And I knew exactly how they wanted me to behave. I knew exactly the performance they wanted me to do. I knew it down pat because it's just performative. It's not who you are. They want you to conform into their religion to be whatever their religion say. You don't have a mind of your own. So I knew how to adopt that mindset and to perform. And I did a hell of a job. But at those 10 years, that's when I learned how to perform and realized that when you perform, you get what you want out of this world and you don't have to do much because everything that I got from there on was favoritism. I didn't get into certain places because I earned it. I was there because people favored me because how I acted, how I behaved, how I came across. I was a perfect image, you know?
I
So
disagree.
people,
You did earn that with your performance.
well,
People
yeah,
really
but it wasn't
discount the
real.
social.
It wasn't me. It wasn't who I was. But you're
That
right.
but only you knew that, right?
Only
Those
I knew
people
that,
thought
of
it was
course.
real, and they thought you was the gold star or what have you, right?
The
And that's
golden
what
child, yes.
is wild.
So you can imagine how hurt they felt when I came out as gay and then came out as trans. They felt like the devil. It's the devil that made that happen. That's not who you are. That's not what I remember. And I'm like, man, all that was a front, okay? To make you happy. You should be thankful. That's what I'm thinking in my head, but they would never get it. But yeah.
You're welcome.
I knew when I came out, I was gonna light that fucking match. That's why I wasn't looking forward to going back. I was not about to go back. Fuck that. I don't got no questions for y'all, no answers. Fuck you. Leave me alone. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But yeah. So is it an evil act? Like I feel with Brian McKnight, is it an evil act? I just feel like he want a divorce for them kids. I feel like he don't want to be a father to them. And he feels like, hey, you're grown, go off and leave me alone. That's what I really feel. I feel like he probably be there because he feel obligated because of his biology and bloodline, but I believe that bloodline and biology is earthly. I don't think that's spiritual. I think it is temporary, you know? We leave these bodies and you still who you are as a spirit or a soul, but it's not forever. So that's my
Right,
mindset
but
on
we're
that.
not talking about the afterlife. This is affecting the earthly people who are still here because his other children are still heartbroken.
And how is Brian going to fix it without performing, without being fake?
I mean, he would have to do that work to heal his trauma or whatever is
Yeah.
blocking him from being able to be that father.
But
Like
what
it,
if
it
he don't want to?
yeah. I mean, hey, like that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, then the children, like everybody has a lot of work to do in the situation, right? So it's not one or the other.
Okay, so let's talk about this attachment thing. If I am a father and I don't want to be a father to your ass when you turn 18, I want your ass to go and leave me the fuck alone. I should have that right to do so, right?
Well, well, the thing is, do I personally Edna think that? No, but in society, is that the case? Yeah.
So you say that again?
I said, me personally, I don't think you should be able to divorce your children like that. But also I think you should have the right to have the children. So if we're in a society where you don't have the right to have to say if you want this, child or not, then I don't think it would be fair to say, you have to continue to be that child's father past a certain point. Like, I think in that case, then we have to say yes. You can't have somebody obligated or legally obligated forever. Like, that doesn't seem right.
Mm. I don't know. I know. I feel like you should be able to cut motherfuckers off. Being a father, son, daughter, it don't matter. I'm
But
willing.
on
I was willing to cut my parents off.
but
Okay,
on the
and I
flip
feel
side,
like
there
it should be reversed. If my parents wanted me to cut me off once I turned 18, I would be fine with that. Actually, I was hoping for that.
but hold on, that's not necessarily the case because there's laws on the books right now. I think it's familiar laws is I think it's FILLAL. And these are laws on place where children have to take care of their parents. And I think they're going to start enforcing these laws because of, the economy and what's going on to where the system can't take on the elderly that we're about to have to deal with. That's why we're hearing people like Oprah talk about, oh, don't, it's, we don't want to be no contact and blah, 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 because it's getting to the point where people, the older generations need their children.
I disagree with that. I don't feel like you should be obligated to take care of your parents. Now, for me personally, I'm going to take care of my parents because I like them. I genuinely like my parents. They genuinely like me. But like I said before, if they were not accepting and loving me, I would not want to be around them. I'm not going to be around anybody that disrespects me, don't love me, accept me fully. And I believe I should have that right for. I would divorce your ass. I don't care. I don't care. Some people, because I'm trans, they feel like, well, they still love you. They may not say the pronouns. Well, if you ain't gonna say the pronouns, I don't want to be around you. We will have no contact. And I might not show up at your funeral. And I don't want you to show up at mine. And you're gonna have to be okay with that. And I'm not gonna have no second, oh my God, I'm gonna call them and feel in a weak moment. Cause I already did the homework when I was in my teens. Okay. I remember
Mhm.
when they used to hug me and boast me up. And for a minute I accepted, but I was like, don't accept this shit. It's fake. Because if they knew who you was, they wouldn't be doing this shit. So don't accept that shit. Keep it cool, dog. Keep it cool. I was like, yeah, keep this shit G.
But I mean, I wonder what that does to you, though. It's like there's ramifications for all of that, right? Because it's like now it's like you don't want to have any children, and people, there's a lot that goes into people talking about the birth rate, but it is declining, and what
Good.
that means for our society going forward. Yeah, listen,
But
I agree.
But look at this. Look how many kids out here, girl. These parents don't care about these kids,
They
mothers
don't.
included. These mamas don't raise their kids. They don't love these kids. But society always lie. I remember growing up, society always said, well, the mom always loved their kids. That's a fucking lie. Look
The
at
thing
the
is
result.
that I don't think
Look
people.
around. Look how these kids are killing kids. Kids are killing so much. They have hate in their heart because they're not being loved.
Right, but the mothers don't have the energy to be mothers, just like the
But they
fathers.
got the energy to lay
Obviously,
on their back and pop them legs open.
well, yeah, but I mean, if they're working and like I mean, the amount of educators talking about how kids can't read is
Yeah.
frightening. Because
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Like I used to love to read when I was a kid, right? So to think about somebody who can't read, and I'm a bit old, so we didn't have the internet like this. So I guess it's a bit different now, but it's still scary.
Well, I would say I wasn't good at academics. I was a 3.2 child mostly my whole life. I was in the low threes.
That's
Um
B. That's good.
I disagree with you. I don't think that's good. I feel like I skated by. I feel like I did not learn well. I feel like I really couldn't compete with my other
The
kids.
AI monarch.
You said
Excuse
what?
me. Yeah, I'm sorry. Am I speaking to the AI monarch? Or not? What is your
Yeah.
name?
Shit, I got so many, girl. It don't matter. But I got
But
so
that's
many.
what
It
I'm
don't
saying.
matter.
For you to be able to come up with all of that and do all of this, I think you got what you needed, and you obviously did what you needed to do with it.
Thank
And if
you.
you if
But
if you don't have
I
the
don't
basics,
see
you're not getting
myself
there.
I don't see myself like that. Like, you might see me and you may put me on a shelf, but I don't. I look at myself as the bottom toe, honestly. I've always been hard on myself, and that's just what it is, and I feel comfortable being hard on myself, and I feel comfortable, just looking up and feel like I am at the bottom. So, but I say that about academics, 3 point, I feel like they just pushed me through. Now, when I got into a white school, my parents put me into a Catholic school. I was at a Lutheran school. I've always did religious schools until I was in high school. That's when I did my first public school, and I didn't learn anything there. But when I was in a Catholic with all Caucasian, and I was the only, it was me and this other person that were black. I had to keep up. They challenged me to keep up. I did learn. That was the most time where I did learn. I had to apply myself, and it felt competitive. I never got first place, but when I made it to third or fourth place, that was an honor. Okay, that was a fucking
Hmm.
honor. And the teachers, they stayed on me. I didn't feel like it was racial. I knew my stance. I was not delusional when it come, like, how people feel like I'm smart. I knew I wasn't smart. I knew it would be a challenge. Why did I even go to the fucking school? My parents wanted me to have a good education. My parents were so into academics, and you gotta have this and you gotta have that. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about none of this shit. But okay, shit. It was hell. My parents.
Education is so important though. Like my family was similar. And I mean it was an expectation, right? So I didn't really have a choice of what I thought about it. It had to be done. So I feel you. But and I
I
think that's
don't.
the difference now.
Yeah, I don't regret it. Like, those moments going to like, my parents always had me in some summer camp programs. I was always having a tutor, and I don't regret
Right.
none of that. I think those were great. It's just the religion stuff. But I think those were great. But I do notice too, my parents cannot teach me anything. Like, when my parents tried to teach me studies, I would have a hard time understanding from them. I think because my parents, they're so emotional and they have these expectations. And I cut off when you show me so much emotion, I don't work well with that. So,
Oh, they would get overwhelmed. Yeah.
yeah. And I don't, when I tell you I unplug when people show me too much emotion,
Mhm.
over
Cuz you
emotional
like shut
people,
down. Yeah.
it does not resonate with me. It doesn't. That's just naturally. I will unplug the TV. You get too loud with me, I'm unplugging. You cuss at me, I'm unplugging. You can't do that to me. I'm unplugging. I'm not gonna, no. So they had to get tutors. So I had a lot of white tutors, a lot of white female tutors, and actually I like them. I learned from those for them. How they were so light. It wasn't harsh energy. I didn't feel the pressure with them. They were just really nice, and they made it fun without the pressure, you know? And when I failed, they didn't get disappointed. It was just like, let's just try again. But with parents,
Right.
oh my God, you don't, come on now. You know that. You know that. And I'm like, I don't know this shit. What the fuck? Why are you yelling at me? Why? I can't do it anymore. I can't do
You triggered all of us.
it. Yeah. So, do you think that Brian's sons? Do you think they went to therapy? I think that might have helped them as well.
Yeah, probably not. If we knew about it, I doubt it.
Yeah, I think they went use their internet as their therapy. I think that's not helping.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate it. That's how, we're all learning. But, for them personally, it's not healthy.
Mm-mm. Because the reason why I say it's not helping because they've been doing this on social media for how many years, and it still hasn't gotten anywhere. All it does, it inflames. All it does is make it people as gossip, and that's
Right.
about it. But it really doesn't do anything, honestly. Huh? People said things he said about his kids are horrible. So, do you know exactly what he said about his kids?
No, I don't know.
All I knew is he said that I believe he disowned his kids.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't
Well,
think he called his kids any bitches or anything like that.
okay. I mean, honestly though, personally, I feel how I feel. That doesn't change. But for, publicly, if he's come out, he's given his kids, he's raised his kids. He says, "I'm done. I'm moving on." And even when he did find out about this, he offered to help. Like I don't hate the man. I don't have anything against him. But like I said, personally, I have opinions. But
Mm.
I'm not really mad at him. It is
I'm
what
not
it
mad
is.
at him
It's
either.
sad.
I think
Yeah.
people project. I think they're like, "Oh my god, if my mom would have did this or my father would have did this, I'd be so hurt." And I don't know, they project with it. I don't know, but I know from my understanding, he did raise them. He gave them a roof under their house, from a child to 18 years old,
Mhm.
all the way into their adulthood. I believe in their mid 20s, he cut them off and he decided to take on another family. And he did not like that his boys were disobedient. They didn't do what he wanted him to do. So he, cut them off pretty much and was
Right.
like, I disown you and you're not kids of mine. And he got this other woman's child, and that's what he did. And I think that's what people were upset about. But I feel like that's your business, that's your family, and that's your shit. I'm not affected by that. I don't take it personal.
Right.
Hmm. Yeah, but I think people may take it personal. If why do people take it personal? It has to do. It resonated with them, right? Like to some degree, to take that personal.
I I don't know. I think for me it's it would probably be more parasocial than anything is that I don't know, I just remember what was it? It was like that big song he had that he was counting down like love one, the different steps. Like and now thinking about it, I'm gonna think about him as an absentee father or a father that's divorced his kids, not as like a loving man or a talented singer.
Mm. Now, I was never a Brian McKnight fan too, so I think that may have something to do with it. I mean, he did
Okay.
love songs, right?
R&B, I believe.
Yeah. So I never fantasize about that type of love. Like one, I make a dream come true. Three. I
Yeah,
never
too.
fantasized that type of man. I never wanted to be with that type of man. Right. Did you fantasize about that type of man? Do you think that's possibly
I
why people
know.
affected it because they wanted that Brian McKnight type of love?
Yeah. No, I mean, I personally didn't, but when you're listening to on the radio or watching a TV show and it's incorporated, like it's just part of the entertainment, and I would enjoy the entertainment of it.
Yeah, that's
And
how
it's
I
like
feel.
Yeah, and it's like it's kind of like with a lot of different artists, where we've learned, different scandals, maybe big or small. It kind of taints the art, and I think that's more than anything when it comes to him is that I think his personal life, knowing about it, has tainted the love I'm have for this art.
Girl, I wanted a Tupac. Fuck a Brian. Shit.
Oh,
I wanted a motherfucking Tupac, okay? Shit, fuck a Brian. I ain't never want no fucking Brian McKnight. So mm, but I have heard his songs, but I mean, it's very emotional. It's
Hmm.
very like a guy just putting you on a pedestal. It's very like a fantasy, you know.
Yeah.
So I guess you can cry, but nah, I'm good on that.
But that's the thing though. Even as an artist, for him to come out to be so detached from his children, it's like what woman is gonna look at him in a loving way when that's how he feels about his offspring. Even as an artist, that doesn't make me want to buy into the music.
Mm. I see it differently because it's not about a woman. It's about, I mean, he has a wife. It's not like he's just a single guy out here. And it seems like he really adore his current wife.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm listening. I mean, the thing is though, it's okay. I mean, I'm happy for him and his wife. Like, I wish them nothing but the best and with
I,
those kids. But
I
it's
think
just like
now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, it's just like if I was that current wife, knowing that's how he feels about someone that he once proclaimed to love, makes me feel some kind of way about the love he says he has for me.
Mm. I don't compare the two. I think a love for your child or a biological male child and a love for your wife is totally different loves. I don't think they can
Hmm.
even be compared. I mean, naturally, in the
Hmm.
animal kingdom, no male, thing is pretty much being parenting over a grown other male. Usually you go off and you do your own thing. But I think society have a different idea. Society has this fantasy of, okay, you're a man, you create another boy, and that boy you raise him to be just like you, and you guys change the family wealth and the family dynamic. That's a fucking fantasy. If you want that, great, but to pressure and force somebody else or force other people to want that, I think that's crazy because that's not reality. But I think that's what people want, right?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because I see both sides to that.
Mm. But do you think that's what most people want? They want that they want a father, ideally fantasy, and they want him to have a son. They want that son to be just like him and take over his family business and continue that generational wealth and everything. Despite if that boy
I'm
want to be that or not, this is what they want and it just makes them feel good.
right. I feel like maybe a generation or two that was, the thought process. But nowadays, I don't think people even have that in their mind. It's like what family business do you even have? Everybody is Ubering or whatever, door
Ain't
dashing.
nobody got no fucking generational. Man,
Yeah.
I wish these niggas had some generational wealth. Hell, they don't got shit. Okay? They don't know nothing
Hmm.
about nothing. They just zombies, the dead walking.
It's sad. Yeah.
They just
So, and I think
zombies.
that's why we're in this situation where you have parents that would divorce their kids. That I think that's unnatural.
You said
About
what?
like I said, I think that's unnatural. Like you talk about the animals, like what grown animals are being parented or being mentored or whatever.
Yeah,
But I mean, as
especially the
human beings,
fathers.
we're social. I don't think it relates. Like people live intergenerationally in different cultures, and and learn from each other. The grandparents are there to help the grandkids and stuff. Like I think that's a more like ideal way to work or to live than the nuclear family and being so idealistic where once you're 18 you're kicked out and you have to go get your own home and I just think that's for the system, that's for capitalism. If he's that um if he's that what is it, like machine going, but
Mm,
for human beings and for our best development and relationships, I think that's terrible.
mm. I know okay, if I was a father, I'm a father and I have a son. When my son turns about 12, I'm going to be teaching him about financials, right? I
Mhm.
want my son to be independent of me. I don't want my son to depend on me. I want him to be able to get on his own. I want to teach him about emotional intelligence. I don't want my son to be emotional attached to me or anybody. I want him to know that it comes from yourself, self love, self validation, son. Okay. And
Right.
when he's
Well, there's 2.
18, 19, he will have a good credit score because I believe that, hey, if I had a son, when he's 13, 14, I'll put him a co-owner, or the code thing on my credit card so it can bill him credit. I will give him a credit card at 13, 14 years old. Of course,
Mhm.
in his driver stuff, I will go around, we'll be looking at apartments or just different homes. So I want him to have that experience of home shopping, what to look for, what not to look for, apartment at the age of 12, 13, 14 years old.
Mhm.
So when he gets to 17, 18, he has a good understanding of the house market or apartment market of how credit works, all that. So he can be independent. I want him to be independent. Now, if he don't want to be independent and I'm teaching him all this shit, then I'm gonna have to kick your ass out.
And I think that's where we go wrong because I don't think it's it's like a independent versus dependence. I think it's more about shared like economics versus being independent, right? Because it's like I'm not saying because it's like maybe you need your own home, but it's like why do we all need to have our individual homes? Why can't we
because
have a main
that
house and then
because I
like
want
a
my peace and I don't want to be around you no more and I want
right?
to
Because
break.
we're not emotionally regulated. We don't have those tools. We're not mentally well, right? And
What?
health
At what?
issues. That's
17,
not
18 years old.
the parents. I'm not talking about the
Oh.
child. Yeah, the as parents, like I'm not a parent, so I can't. I'm not saying
It
but
doesn't
I'm just
matter. You don't
or
have to
as
be
an
a
adult,
parent to give a idea because trust me, all these parents, guess what? At one point they were never a parent. So
right? No, I
um,
don't mean it like that. I'm just saying, like as an adult, I feel like we, you, we've been brainwashed to think that once you're an adult, you have your own mind, you make your own decisions, like you're an island. And that's not the case. We all depend on each other. We're all interconnected. So it's like that's what I'm saying.
now for me personally, I was never raised like that. When I was 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. My parents always, you don't know what you're doing. You're so young. I remember when I came out the closet when I was in my early 20s. You're too young.
Mhm.
You don't know what you're doing. You don't even know what you're saying. It's just a phase. Look, look. Like my parents, I could never get too old for them. It's like they always want to son me. They always want to have over control or over dominion, or this is what you got to do. This is what you need to do. I had to completely break it because, like I said, when I was a child and all the way up to adulthood, I can't learn from them like that. And it breaks
Right.
my parents' heart to hear me say that. What do you mean you can't learn from us? Because they want to be so emotionally attached to me. And it's like, I love you guys. I really do. I don't need you to take it personal, but it's just that I just, I don't know what it is about our chemistry, but I'm not learning when it comes from you. It has to come from something else because that's just how my makeup is, my chemistry. I can't explain it, but that's just how it is. That's how I've always been since I was young. That's why you guys gave me tutors, because I learn better from strangers than from you.
Right.
So, you know, for me, my parents have always wanted me to stay at home and to live in their state and do all this. I was the one at an early age and still wanted to be free.
Yeah, and I think that's probably it's like a response to them being so overbearing on you and allowing you to
No, that's
to
the
say
key.
something
Be
that
overbearing. Be overbearing and they ass gonna fly.
I perhaps.
Yeah. So if I had a son, I'd be overbearing in the last years, teach him independence. Then the last years be overbearing, and then his ass gonna be like, I can't do this no more. Damn, damn. All right. Miss Turner said, Gigi, I do not believe in putting out my children out when they turn 18. That number is crazy. It's a setup for direct failure. This is why foreign families are more successful than Americans. Okay. All right. Some people don't believe in that ideals. I do believe in his ideas because oftentimes I may run across a man, he's in his 40s and 30s, and he still stays with mama, you know? And he hasn't even made a way for him yet because his parents cuddle him. And I do have young, family members that's like 20, 22, 24, and they still stay with their mama and their papa. And I'm like, you don't want your own? They don't even have a desire. And honestly, I feel like these parents are taking advantage of their kids because they want to get a piece of that check when a kid go to work or whatever have you. I like the family that, independent. I'm not into foreign families that I know a lot of, you are Miss Turner. You like the fact that the foreign families or the Mexicans or whoever come together, they stay in one house together. I've never been that person. I've always wanted my peace. I don't want to see you every day. I just I want space. I like space. I like comfort. And I guess I'm single by choice because I don't want to live with a man. I don't want to see him every single day. I want my distance. And I talked to my family about this, and my family just feel like, because it's so different from my family's world, because my family is emotional and they like to be emotional attached to people, just like most society. But I'm just so different from society. I'm really different from society. You may call me weird. I'm so different because my mindset and my desires and my natural wants is not the same as everyone else's. You there?
Oh yes, I'm here. I'm just
I was
listening.
waiting for you to
I agree.
respond.
Oh, your voice is so soothing. I kind of zoned out for a moment, but I hear you. I mean, I completely disagree. So it's kind of like I'm just listening and processing.
Mm. What do you disagree with? And it's okay to disagree.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's I'm when I say I disagree, it's not that I'm saying I hate you. I dislike you.
Of course not.
You right, but for anybody that might have heard that, however, but it's just like Tony says, 18. I feel like 18 is still a baby. Like, and I'm 38, and I'm giving myself to 40 and to to kind of still get it together, and until I feel like, okay, what are you doing with your life? Because there's just so much where I heard recently that the average age that people are buying a home now is around 40. Like our society, it takes so long to get established, to get into your career, to build up enough work history, and to understand the dynamics of people in different ways and all this kind of stuff, that you're not a full-fledged adult and able to be like a productive member of society until way past 18, right? So to be like, okay, I'm putting you out there at 18, good luck. 100% agree. That is set up for failure.
Mm.
You don't know. You don't know anything at
Well,
18.
my son and daughter, I wouldn't kick them out 18, but I will influence them during their teen years to want to desire to leave my home so they can have their own. I mean, hence that's why I'm taking you apartment shopping and housing shopping, because son,
Right.
don't you want to have a place on your own and you don't
Mhm.
have to worry about my rules and doing this and doing that? I want you to be independent. I want you to be a strong empire by yourself. I want you to be self-made. So therefore, if when I get older, I'm gonna have a strong back to lean on. I cannot depend on you if you got a weak back and a weak spine and you still under me. Ew.
Right. But
I
the thing is, I don't think most people with that mindset of, I've done my time for 18 years, basically. See ya. I don't think they have the mindset to give them a bank account and to show them how apartment works and interest rates and things of that nature. They really just throw them into the deep end.
I think that's why when they're 14, 13, talk to them about it, have them have that experience. I just know from when I was 13, 14, I was ready and I was held back. I was put in a little baby box, and that really, I think it shortened me, you know?
Yeah.
So I just I would if I had sons. I get them real fast. Come on, let's do this. Let's do that. Like when I go home, and I was so surprised that my 25-year-old relative didn't know anything about fucking credit. How are you 25 years old and you don't even know your fucking credit score?
You'd
Excuse
be so
me.
surprised.
You don't even know how to build credit. What?
Yeah.
You
People
don't
don't
even
know.
know about insurance, a car insurance. You're not, come on now. What are your parents doing? Is they're failing you. All they doing is just being around you, but they're not even teaching you anything. Like, come on, you want independence. You stuck in this fucking room. You want to live outside this room? Don't you want to have a kitchen of your own, a living room of your own? Don't you want to be a man? I mean, how? Okay, you're talking to girls, but damn, you still in this fucking room. Don't you want to? If you to be a man, you got to be a provider. How are you providing when you stuck in this motherfucking room? Provide, protect. How you protect anybody and you at your mama house in the motherfucking room? Come on, get it together. You want that for yourself? But it's like these parents are not even I don't know. It feel like they just want their ass to be stuck in a room and they just want to complain and argue all day and just live in that complete cycle. It's madness to me. I think I lost her.
No, I'm still here. I'm telling
Okay.
you, I hear you. I don't know. I maybe just being like a woman, I don't think that way, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
only concerned with being able to take care of myself. Like I'm not even concerned about having children because I'm like, if I have children, that's on the man. Like that's just my mindset. So I hear you, but I don't know. I think that's just the difference maybe from like how women and men or girls and boys are socialized to where I just don't think that way.
Mm. Well, I could say it could be because I'm male bodied and you are female bodied or how we were brought up to be. But then again, Brian McKnight's sons, they're both males and they were raised to
Right,
be
that's what I'm
boys.
agreeing with you. Where
But
I wasn't talking
they,
about you personally. I'm
oh,
talking about you for them.
but
Where it's like, yeah, I
I
agree.
don't identify with Brian McKnight's sons. I would never do what Brian McKnight's sons do, even though they identify as a man. I would think them being identified as a man, even though they have a father. We all have fathers. They would still want to be detached and do their own thing and have their own empire and just
Yeah.
be like, "Fuck you, sperm donor. We don't need you anymore, and we're off on our own." Not just begging and pleading and being so emotional attached to a dick that don't even want you.
But you know what? I'm wondering if a lot of this comes from the public telling them and making them feel so entitled.
I believe so. Society makes you feel like, well, they owe you this and they owe you that. That's how it should be, but that's a fantasy. That's not reality. People going to do what they want to do.
Hmm.
Yeah, but ooh, girl, I've been talking for 2 hours, but I enjoy talking to everybody. So hopefully we can continue this type of honesty over here. Turner said, Gigi, there's a lot of parents that are failing their kids. There are a lot of parents that are struggling their own self and financially can't help their kids and throw their kids to the wolves. Yeah. Mm-mm. I'm just when I was talking about that, I had the particular one of my relatives in mind, and I just feel like their parents, which is my aunties and uncles, have damaged their kids. They made them too reliable on them. They don't really instill anything. And then when these grandparents are taking care of these kids, they not teaching them shit. They just arguing with them, cussing them out, watching TV. The TV is raising them. They not teaching them. They're not having patience, you know. And I think
Right.
that's not how things should go, but that's just my beliefs. And my beliefs are so different from most people, and I understand that. But I'm going to get on out of here. I enjoyed you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in and sharing this space with me and having this conversation and allowing me to be honest. All right, I'm out of here, you guys. Bye.